what real community actually looks like.
So after you've walked away from a system that felt, well, hollow, or maybe even harmful, there's this one huge question that just kind of hangs in the air. A lot of us have gotten really good at seeing what's false and taking it apart. But the real work, the hard work, is figuring out how to build something true. And today, that's exactly what we're going to focus on, getting crystal clear on what real community is actually supposed to look like. I mean, this is the question, right? It's the one that bounces around in your head after you leave, after you've seen behind the curtain. If the big shows, the lights, the mandatory groups, and the brand loyalty, if that's not real community, then what in the world have we been looking for this whole time? And that really gets to the heart of what we're doing here. You know, it's one thing to point out what's broken. That's necessary work. But it takes a totally different set of tools to actually build a clear, healthy picture of what should be in its place. So, let's start putting the pieces of a better map together. Okay, before we can even start to define what real community is, we have to be brutally honest about what it is not. We have to clear away all the cheap imitations so we can finally see the real thing clearly. And hey, if this next part sounds a little too familiar, that's okay. This is all about validating that gut feeling you've had for years that something just wasn't right. Think of this list as a diagnostic tool. I mean, look at these requirements. Forced loyalty, for example, that isn't just about sticking around. It's that unspoken pressure to keep your mouth shut when you see something wrong because unity somehow became more important than truth. Or emotional hype, that feeling that you have to perform some kind of emotion just to fit in. And if protecting the leadership always trumps protecting the people, you're not in a community, you're in a structure. All right, so if that's the fake model, what's the original? Let's get to the blueprint. To really get our bearings, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning, to how Jesus actually gathered people and how the very first believers lived it out. Just look at how simple and, well, real this is. Jesus didn't gather fans to watch him perform. He gathered people around a shared search for what was true. They did life together. They walked, they ate, they talked. No question was too scary, no topic was off limits. And the big thing here, it was about serving without needing to be seen and aligning with truth, not some spiritual celebrity. And this is how the early church just did it. Think about it. Met in homes. That wasn't a production, it was just life. Addressed disagreements directly. That wasn't about being divisive, it was about being so committed to the truth that your relationships could handle some friction. People gave money because they saw a need right in front of them, not because of a budget. Nobody was untouchable. And this is the key. The absolute bottom line. The ultimate authority in these real, raw, early communities wasn't a charismatic person. It wasn't a powerful speaker. It was the truth itself. The truth was the thing that held everyone accountable, from the brand new believer to the person who'd been there the longest. Everything revolved around that solid center. So you have to ask, right? If the original blueprint was that simple and that powerful, how did we get so far away from it? Well, slowly but surely, modern culture, especially the way we think about marketing and brands and consumerism, it just started to creep in and twist the definition of community into something else entirely. Instead of being a shared life, community got repackaged and sold to us. It becomes a branding experience when you're pushed to wear the church t-shirt more than you're pushed to actually live out the gospel. It's a production environment when the Sunday service is so polished and perfect that there's just no space for messy, real, human connection. The whole thing shifts from us participating together to each of us just consuming an event. And here's the absolute truth of it. You can sit in the front row of the biggest church every single week and be completely and utterly alone. Real community has nothing to do with how close you are to a stage. It's built in the trenches, with other people who are just as committed as you are to finding out what is true, together. Okay, so we've torn down the false model. We've dusted off the original blueprint. Now comes the most important part. What does it actually take to rebuild? What are the essential, non-negotiable ingredients for creating a real, healthy community? Right here, right now. Let's really dig into these because they are so important. Honesty. That's not just about not telling lies. It's having the guts to say, I'm struggling, or I don't get this. Accountability is creating a place that's so safe that someone can come to you and say, hey, I think you might be off here, and you can hear it as love, not an attack. Mutual respect means you value the person even when you completely disagree with their idea. And freedom to question, without being punished for it. That's the bedrock. And all of it All of it has to stand on a shared belief that Scripture is the final authority, not our opinions. And notice what's not on that list. It doesn't require you to be silent. It doesn't require you to be afraid. And it sure as heck doesn't require your money to prove that you belong. But it does require one thing that can be kind of hard to find: maturity. And all maturity really is the ability to handle the weight of real relationships, the messiness, the forgiveness, the hard conversations, without just running away. It's choosing to grow instead of just being comfortable. So this last part, this is all about empowering you. It's about recognizing that you have the freedom now to go find and build something that is actually healthy. This is your path forward. I really want you to hear this loud and clear. You are free. You are free to choose a small, honest get-together in someone's living room over a slick production in a giant room. You are absolutely free to value a real conversation way more than a perfect performance. You have permission to chase after truth instead of personality, and to seek depth instead of just hype. You know, leaving a controlling system can feel exactly like this, like you're spiritually homeless. It's painful, it's disorienting, but please hold on to this truth. Community was never, ever about a building. You are not alone, and you are not without community just because you don't walk into a certain building on a Sunday anymore. This right here is the ultimate promise. This is the real definition of community. 2 people, 3 people, that's it. That is the entire guest list. When people get together in the name of truth, that's where real community happens. His presence does not require our production. So here's a moment to just be honest with yourself. Ask this question, and as you think about it, think about this. Is my main connection with other people, or is it with a program? Am I actually contributing to a shared life with others, or am I just a consumer of a weekly event? There's no judgment here at all, just a chance to find some real clarity for yourself. And let's make this super practical. Don't just think about it, let's do something. Your step this week is simple. Find one person and have one honest spiritual conversation. Over coffee, on a walk, whatever. Anywhere but in a formal church setting. Yeah, it might feel a little weird at first, but this is how it starts. It's just about finding one person you can be real with. So when you boil it all down, that's where we land. Community isn't a structure held together by rules and fear. It's a living thing, built on a shared search for truth. And we know it takes maturity, real honesty, accountability, and respect. But the best news is you are free to find it, and it can start with just one simple conversation. Because that's where it all begins. No stage, no program, just truth. Welcome to Raw Revelation. This channel exists because Hosea 4:6 was not written to the world, it was written to the priests. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We expose false doctrine, not to tear faith down, but to return it to the way Jesus actually taught. Here, we live by one rule. If it died on the cross, we tag it and tow it. No tradition above truth, no system above Scripture. No demands placed on people that Jesus never placed himself. If this video helps you, share it. Someone you love may be trapped and doesn't know how to say it yet. Subscribe if truth matters more than comfort, because here we sow truth the way Jesus taught, not the way man demands.